Welcome back to OmniFoot TV. This is your host Omar speaking, and today I'm going to review Group D of UEFA Euro 2021. Still calling it 2021. Anyways, England, Scotland, the Czech Republic, and Croatia, who, to be honest, have been a little underwhelming recently. Let's start with England. Now, I think my opinion on this English side has been, obvious. Last video I did on Southgate was as much of a rant as it was, a conversational episode. And considering the fact that the man has taken 9 defenders to the tournament, I mean, I've said this before and I'll say it again. The last time I saw this kind of ineptitude was when Maradona took 9 strikers 9 strikers to the 2010 World Cup in South Africa as Argentina manager. And it only seems to, increase from there. In yesterday's game against Romania, at one point, England had 2 holding midfielders on the pitch. And that was the... How do you have a 2-man midfield and deploy 2 holding midfielders with a 5-man backline? I genuinely don't know how Ward-Prowse missed out. Seriously. That man is going to lead England to ruin, as any other manager has. Because seriously, whenever you have an English generation of this talent just stacked to the brim with players capable of making a difference on the grandest of stages, you get a manager who inherits them, who can't tell his backside from his face. Yeah, this is PG. Anyways, key players: Kane, Grealish, Mount, Chilwell, and Bellingham, in my personal opinion. I think Sancho will be instrumental, but he's been injured recently. He's had to deal with an injury during his time at Dortmund this year. He could shake things up. I think he will. He did in yesterday's game, hit the crossbar. But I'll say this again. With the imbalance present in England's squad, I don't see them getting past the quarterfinals. I do think, however, that they will top the group. Now, ironically, the last time that England had their best proper, finish at this tournament was when Southgate was player back in 96. They reached the semi-finals. We're going to see that grey England shirt everywhere. I'm dead sure of it. Anyways, over to Croatia. Dalic inherited the Croatian side in difficult circumstances, got them to the World Cup via playoffs, and reached the finals in Russia. Now, Croatia have been in some sort of a slump throughout their World Cup qualifiers as of late, but they still have that brilliant midfield of Brozovic, Kovacic, and Modric, who will be out for blood, as he was in the last tournament. His age aside, Modric is still very capable of turning a game on its head. And yes, those 3 men are my choices for the key players on this side. However, I think that second spot in this group is still in jeopardy because they haven't really been on form as a side. When England face them, I think it's going to be difficult for both sides. I think difficult is the right word. And if Croatia are more organized than England, then they will definitely win. Putting it out there. If England lack a proper structure and go into it as conservative as humanly possible, I think they will get by on individual brilliance. But if they can't convert, then Croatia will most definitely take their chances. It's going to be a dodgy game. The Czech Republic. The Czech Republic are one of 2 semifinalists in this group. Previous semifinals. Their best run was in Euro of 2004. They reached the semifinals and they gained the love of a multitude of fans because they had a brilliant team. Go back and look at their highlights. Go back and just look at their players. Do some research. You'll be surprised if you don't know. Now, their manager, Yaroslav Sarafi. I'm kind of having a hard time pronouncing his name. Yaroslav Silhavi. Yeah, just had to read that just to make sure I didn't butcher it. I think I did either way. He's been tasked with doing better with this side than they did in their last appearance at the Euros, which was in 2016. They basically went out of the tournament without a single win. They got a single point out of the entire group stage, out of the entire group stages. They didn't do so well. I would assume, however, that with how organized they've been, they can do some damage. I was watching their game against Italy recently, and despite the fact that Italy ran out 4-0 winners, Italy were not necessarily that organized. The Czech were much more collectively focused. I think that's the right term. They were much more collectively focused. And Italy practically got on because of, a good couple of chances, which, is expected with Immobile up front and Barella. You have good players. Chiesa. It was a question of individuality more so than organization, which is usually I've used that word a lot, which is almost always the defining factor in games like that. Now, I don't necessarily think that they'll get out of the group stages, but they definitely won't finish bottom. Hopefully, being optimistic. On to Scotland. Now, I'm quite optimistic about Scotland, to be honest. I think that currently the most credible manager out of the four is Steve Clarke for the work he's done with Scotland. He got them to the Euros via the playoffs, and they had to win 2 penalty shootouts against Israel and Serbia. They scored all 10 spot kicks. That is not easy to do. And they have a very good team of players who have Premier League experience. They, in my opinion, you have Liam Cooper, you have Scott McTominay, Billy Gilmore, and John McGinn, who, in my opinion, and I think this is also factual to an extent, is their most important player, as he scored 7 goals out of 8 appearances he's made in their qualification rounds. Now, Steve Clarke has basically built a side up out of nothing. He's gotten them to their first ever major tournament since the World Cup of 1998. And I think he's already achieved cult hero status in Scotland. But if he manages to somehow get a win over England, man, he'll get legendary status even if they don't qualify past the group stages. Now, in regards to Scotland, and this is just my opinion, being a bit optimistic here, based on what I have seen and based on the potential present in their players currently, the ones I've mentioned, have more potential to do harm than any of the players in either Croatia or Czech Republic. And I think that I've made that conclusion based on primarily Croatia and Czech Republic's form. If you look at the form table in general, I'm coming up with that term on my own. What I mean is, if you look at their records, Scotland's records in their past couple of games, the Czech Republic and Croatia, you'll kind of understand my point. Although, I'll be sure to do that as well, to make sure that I'm not being, factually incorrect or presenting any wrong information, because last I checked, Scotland were actually doing better than both the other nations. Now, based on that alone, I think that they could easily finish second if they play their cards right. If players like McGinn and Gilmore shine, you've got yourself a problem, whoever you are. Now, my predictions for the group, top to bottom, to sum this all up. England will finish first, primarily because of individual brilliance. They're not going to because of how good their management is, because, Southgate is a tool. Just putting that out there again. Clarke's Scotland have the potential, and I use the term potential a lot because I think that it's all about potential at this point in time. Scotland's team have the potential to finish second in their group. Croatia could, however, outdo them if they actually wake up. And the Czech Republic, I think, are either going to be fighting for third or fourth place. So, my last statement. England first, Scotland second, Croatia third, and the Czech Republic fourth. Now watch Scotland finish the bottom of the group and Croatia finish first. Just to, prove that I have no footballing credibility whatsoever. I'm going to react to this video someday soon. So yeah, that's it for my video on Group D. Thank you all for tuning in. The links to our social media accounts are in the description below. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy our content. If you agree with me or disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. As I say, let there be discourse. And I will see you next time the whistle blows in our next video for Group E. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.